Hello there, guys. This is Aaron Klein again today. I'm doing this back to back with my last video I made. This is the third time I'm recording this one because there was some information that I said in the first video that I wanted to re-record that I missed in the second cut. In the second cut. So this is round 3. Oh wow, that's pretty weird. I live right now. I'm living with my aunt up north. Oh yeah, that is sun, it looks like. Is that with my camera or what? Whatever, anyways, I will get back. Yeah, no, that's just some beams from the sun. So today I have sort of a half-hearted apology to say. I think I have one real one. There was a video I made 3 weeks ago. I think I said something crude, and I'm sorry if I did. I'm pretty sure I said something offensive. Sometimes it comes out wrong, and that happens, and I'm sorry whenever it does. I do my best to watch my words. In fact, I'm working my best to be an author. So yeah, if I accidentally botch words once in a while, it's rare, and I'm sorry. Now onto the main issue. I am here to fake apologize to you and say that this entire time I've been selling you Jesus in a handbasket. You asked for bread and I gave you Jesus, huh? That's funny. I'll just start by explaining that you knew very well when you came here that I am a Christian. So you would think that my ideas probably have some Christian basis on them, right? Woo! If you didn't get onto that by now, congratulations. I just revealed the whole the secret. I don't know. If you liked the way I was presenting things through an earthly lens, well, congratulations. There's evidence on this planet that God exists and that He came down to this planet to save us from ourselves, because we have been misbehaving for a long time. Let's just be clear. Yeah, we have been misbehaving since our creation. I don't know how old the earth really is, but I will say this: we were created, so it's probably within the last 1,000,000 years old. There are people that say 10,000, people say 5,000. I'm more willing to say there's a lot of leeway in Genesis. I mean, a lot. I'm not saying the creation story wasn't 7 days. I'm saying we have no date for the Tower of Babel. We have no date for the flood. We have some timelines of when people were born, but we have no dates. So, to my best understanding, I will say this: there is reason to. I am 100% certain that there is a God and He created this planet, but there is reason to believe that we don't know how old the Earth is. I will say that. We don't know how old the universe is. I will, however, say there are physicists out there that almost have proven that the universe isn't expanding, it's falling outwards. So it's like gravity pulling us to the Earth, but it's gravity accelerating the universe outwards, something similar to that, which can't happen if there's a Big Bang. I will say, as a biologist, I have the right to say this: the single cell origin is a big fat lie. I have looked at the biochemical physics of it. There is no way the proteins folded correctly. There is no way. The heat, like the energy, the heat does not line up. There are a lot of very complex proteins that needed to be there in the start for the cells to even try to function, that just could not be there. And then even if they were there somehow miraculously, there need be a way for the cell to exchange things in and out to continue to live. And those proteins that need to be built are even more complex. And there's no way those could have been created naturally. They could not have folded naturally. An individual cell could not have been created. There's no way. If we create one in a lab, the only thing we prove is that it took intelligence to create it. Bravo! Woo! I just disproved the whole what? I just disproved the whole first 2 lectures of my second semester freshman biology lecture. No, anyways, it goes way deeper than that, but there's enough evidence in biology that says hopeful interpretation of there being no God is a lie. It is interpretation by biased people that refuse to believe that a God can exist. Now, I will say this, you don't necessarily have to come to that conclusion solely on biology. Yeah, there's wind. You can see it in the trees. There's more information out there. Quite frankly, if you look at societies nowadays, there's very good, strong reason to believe that the Judeo-Christian building blocks that have been put into our society have been kept it afloat, and not only kept it afloat, made it prosperous. Now here's the thing. Here is the major thing. We've got a major issue there because when a lot of non-Christians enter that, they enter the capitalist society, and we have learned that unfettered capitalism breeds laziness, gluttony amongst the lower ranks, and breeds greed. Just because we had Christian values baked into our society does not mean that is enough. Like, baked into our laws does not mean that is enough to prevent predators, psychopaths, narcissists, the people that are out there to gain on the system, to gain on us. It only makes it legal for them to do wrong business decisions. And it's not just that they outcompete, it's that they then partner up with other businesses to squash people from being able to compete with them. It's not just that they buy out competition, they squash it through other business partners. We have seen that recently with Parler, we have recently seen that with a lot of other people trying to move to different platforms, and then those platforms getting squashed. If you see, like, you can tell there's a lot of censorship in the world. But anyways, let me get back to the main topic of today. There is reason to believe that that relationships as a whole, I have no offense against gay people, but this is just how this is, that relationships as a whole were built specifically to be between a man and a woman. If you look at, I'll just say, Greece, before, I'll say at the start of democracy in Athens, you probably didn't see all that much. You didn't see all that much homosexuality. But by the time Alexander the Great came around, it was rampant. I'll get to that in a bit. But let me just say, this is the one place where I disagree with Jordan Peterson. The one single place. It is that a functioning religion that creates functioning social norms and beliefs, that creates functioning ethical systems within a person. A functioning religion will not have a female entity representative within it. And this is going to hurt when I say this, but that is because humanity is the feminine role in that solution. So what I mean by this is, like, it works out in Christianity perfectly. If you, and like you can see where a lot of issues started arising in Catholicism, so we'll just say non-Catholic Christianity, that hasn't been extremely led astray by perverse doctrines. So the first idea is that the masculine is what creates it doesn't create order. It creates a set of standards for chaos to meet, and then applies that. And you can call that reaction kind of, it's applying order, but what precipitates out is those things that are within the order that masculinely imposed. Now, when I say that, and Jordan Peterson kind of supposes that dragon, like the idea of the dragon, the idea of chaos is the feminine. It is saying that as God's, like, even just as Adam and Eve, God gave them a set of laws to follow. Okay, no, I put this wrong. God, like, the masculine imposes order upon chaos, and what precipitates out is considered orderly or good. It's structured, you know what I mean. So God pulled out the land from the sea, God pulled out light from the dark, God pulled out the sky from the waters. God gave order to Adam and Eve, and they failed to meet that standard. So think of it this way: when we fell from God, it was literally saying we failed to meet His standards when Adam and Eve partook of the fruit of knowledge of good and evil. So let's say actually that when we fell, we created something higher to fall from, per se. We fell from a standard because we didn't precipitate out of the chaos. So there's reason to assume that humanity itself is chaos. Still, like, God never separated, like, if I'll just give the idea. Let's say you have a huge basin of water that is a solution of salts, all sorts of salts, and you pour in a specific acid and something precipitates out. There are still all of these impurities in there. Darn it, how do I put this? That's wrong. But basically, the original idea was right. Basically, when you say the masculine applies order to the feminine, things precipitate out. Order precipitates out when masculine gives a set of laws or whatever to be applied. So, in a religious sense, there is no need for women, because the men kind of, this sucks to say, I by no means have any malice or hate against women, but there's this idea that women have to set themselves in order under their men, so that way men can see that relationship and also then themselves set themselves under God in the same sense. So that marriage relationship, when it says, I think it's in Ephesians 5, when it says Christ took the church to be His bride, that was saying we have to set ourselves in order under the masculine to have a hope of an eternity with God. So God's the Father, we are adopted through the church to be brothers and sisters of Christ. That's how that works. So yeah, we have to set ourselves in order. That's probably the main reason why, like that has to be the reasoning behind why homosexuality is bad. I have nothing against people who are homosexuals. I will say that religiously, marriage is between a man and a woman, and it has to be because a marriage does not function if there's not a masculine and a feminine. And I will also say there are some innate masculine traits and innate feminine traits, and society forcing people to change those causes despair. You see, like if you just look at our society, masculinity has been tarnished, and straight up, we have like we have about 3.5 to 4 times the amount of male suicides compared to female suicides. And then furthermore, the female suicides are based upon they're usually based upon emotional carnage after a breakup, or because of terrible men that mistreated them. It's usually because of a romantic issue. Men, on the other hand, it's because there's just a whole list of reasons. Anyways, back to what I was saying. I have no qualms with women. I think they should vote. I think they can have jobs. I just also think it is more valuable for a woman to be working as a full-time wife and mother. About 10 years ago, my preacher did a cost analysis of this, and it was something like, assuming you have like 1 kid, a woman's value working from home, if it was only full-time, which it's literally 24/7, not just full-time. If a woman worked full-time from home, she'd be worth about $200,000 to the household. By now, things have inflated. A one-child household's probably worth $350,000 by now, just because of all the different services. Really good childcare is hard to come by, and there is a lot of value. People get a lot of value in raising their young, just like there's just a lot of emotional value in doing it. I'd love to have kids. It'd be a great honor to raise them. Personally, I think there's a lot more value in women staying home and raising children while they can. And then, once kids go off to school, that's a great time when women should be chasing careers after their kids are starting to become independent. They're clearly not independent yet. But it's a good start, and it is also a good start to show kids that, hey, mom isn't just mom, she's a human being, she can go out and do a lot of the same things dad can. The crazy thing is, men are they're built specifically for labor. So it is hard to tell a man that he can't do a job, or say, sorry, there's no jobs left, when the workplace is filled with a lot of women. Now, I'm not getting into jobs selecting for women, because that's a story for a different day. We live in a society, and our society isn't doing good. On the flip side, I will say men are built to be doing laborious jobs. They're built to be doing dangerous jobs. They are built to be bringing in the resources, and it is sad when men are under-earning their wives, and then the wives have no respect for them, and the men can't do anything about it. That's another big reason for suicide. Men aren't earning as much anymore, and they're being tortured for not being able to earn as much. And it doesn't help that we're in a consumeristic society, so people want instant results, when that's literally not how you strive to do more in a society. If you want a man to grow, you need to give him time. Now, I will, back to the main topic. It is clear to me that a Judeo-Christian society functions well. when the laws have Judeo-Christian values baked into them. Now, I will say this. I bet a Muslim society functions well in comparison to what they believe. I will say a Buddhist society would probably function well. As long as there is a moral value system that is given to people, I think, and it's baked into their laws. I'm not saying that religion and law should be merged. I'm saying they should be separate, but there should be enough of but the laws should reflect the value systems of the people. Now, what's happening in America is we no longer have God in our society. So even though our laws were built around that, our people are no longer believing that. So they're manipulating the laws, they're taking advantage of the laws because they know what to expect. We have corrupt judges who completely misinterpret laws. We have corrupt politicians. Our society is failing because we walked away from our value systems, shifted away from our government so drastically and so quickly that we can see the corruption in our government and our institutions. They didn't have a chance to pull the curtains around with them whenever we flipped. Which is marvelous to say that they didn't take their time with it. Which is very funny. So I will say this. First of all, from now on, just a reminder if you haven't read the description. I am a Christian. I have been selling you Jesus in a handbasket. I will also say, when I say step away from society, I'm not saying completely step away. I'm saying find a healthy community to replace society with till you have cleaned up your own house, and then go and live in such a way that when people imitate you, they also clean up their own houses, and everyone can have a clean house at the same time. This is the Jordan Peterson argument. When society is going awry like this, find a community, fix yourself, make sure they are fixing themselves, then start spreading. That is the way Christianity is supposed to be working. Right now, we currently have a lot. I'll say this, it's rude and mean, and it just has to be said. We have a lot of people following false religions that claim to be Christians, and they simply do not imitate God or Jesus. They simply imitate, they simply proclaim they do. And a lot of that is because, one, people don't want to take responsibility for themselves. That is like one of the core beliefs of Christianity. Of course, it's also one of the core beliefs of Judaism. But that's just because Christianity builds on top of Judaism. The first core belief is that you should have responsibility over yourself. Everything you do, you are responsible for. So when I say, I'm pointing my finger at myself, right? When I say, I killed God and there's not enough water to wash away the blood, I am saying I did it. I am the reason he had to die. Right? That's like the other half of the interpretation of Nietzsche's grandiose theme there. I killed God, and there's not enough water to wash away the blood. That's the first thing. The second thing is that we can't achieve godliness. There's like no possible way, because there is a massive separation between us and God. It's just impossible. We cannot be divine. So we still we should internally morally accept that we still have all these moral tasks put upon us. But at the same time, we know there's no way on earth we can earn heaven. There's just no way. God had to intercede on our behalf and come down to this earth to even give us a chance. And it was to say, you cannot do this on your own. I will give it to you if you will follow me. God gave us an order to fall under. And if we want to be his people, if we want to be called his people, we will do what he says. That is how this works. We are a separate people from this world. Therefore, it is fair to say we should separate ourselves from society. And that is why we have churches. It's not just so that way we can say, at the very least, we once a week come together and remember what we have done. It is also to say this is a community separate from this world. So that way, in this unhealthy world, we have a place to go to that is healthy, that does function, and shows us what can be better. Shows us why it is better. That's how that works, guys. Yeah, I think that's 3. That kind of lines up quite poetically. What's the right word here? 3 kind of like rules to go with the Trinity of God. It's poetic. I'll leave it there. So yes, I've been selling you Jesus in a handbasket this entire time, and I am very proud of it now. I will say this is something that I forgot when I left out. I didn't even mention this very well. There should, whenever you think of you in relationship with God, you should think of him as a father. When you think of you in relationship with Jesus, you should think of him as your husband. And what that means is, I didn't even touch on this. This is what I forgot the last time I shot this. Darn. What this means is that our society, like a micro. When I say that the church is a micro ecosystem that functions for our society, that's a functioning version. What that means is when you expand it to apply it to a society as a whole, when the society is functioning, that means it's probably like functioning as though it's the church. That means it's representing a Christian value system, and that Christians are living in it. What that also means is that when it turns away, because we are in a romantic relationship with Jesus, that also means that humanity is having an affair with Jesus and is betraying God. So quite literally, we see something flashy, something pretty, something right now looks good, and we are running at it full force. We are having an affair with, I know Christianity says the devil, but we are having an affair with the worldly things that people are chasing after. So power, money, status, we are having an affair with those things. So it is fair to say that, I know Jonathan Pageau, yes, I've watched some of this stuff, he started saying that now that we have turned away from God, a lot of the older nameless deities are starting to come out. The older nameless gods are starting to come out. And I'm saying, no, they have names, and they've been here forever. And they are a lot of what God calls the 7 deadly sins. People kind of collapse into like, people initially start with like greed, the chase for money, power, fame, stuff like that. The 7 deadly sins that God gives us, those are kind of your start for the ancient gods. Those have been coming out in mass. We see censorship to silence Christians. People aren't seeing it, but a lot of Christians and a lot of people with our values are being oppressed. We are in the middle of a, how should I say this? We are in the middle of an information warfare. So therefore, Christians are being, Christian information is being oppressed, and Christians are being silenced. So yes, we are being oppressed. It doesn't feel like it, but at the same time, I don't expect this channel to last very long if I get over 10,000 viewers. It will probably be shut down, and that is completely fine. I will have performed my own social experiment, and I will have shown that Christians don't have a place on the internet anymore, and that's fine. That's fine. We all have a book. We all have a Bible. If you aren't a Christian and you're reading this, I suggest at least reading up on the Bible. You don't have to believe in Jesus to understand all the value systems that are baked into our economy, and that, well, baked into our, baked into our laws. That's a very fair argument. At least if you want to understand where our laws started, where our Constitution came from, you can read the Bible to see where they got those. That is a very fair argument for why you should at least read it to understand where I'm coming from, where Christians are coming from, where our laws were coming from when this society started. We are in a Judeo-Christian society, but we're not anymore. We have a society that is having an affair with God. That's like having an affair against God with the sins. So that's how that works out. Just from now on, if you start wondering, where is he coming up with this stuff? Understand you might have missed it if you weren't paying attention in Bible class. And a lot of the stuff I also understand that I'm coming up with on my own. It's a good idea to have your own original thought, guys. If you haven't had your own original thoughts in a while, start doing that. And a great way to do that, this is where I give you guys a solution now. A great way to start having your own original thoughts and start doing your own studying, start by meditating. Just picking one day a week for 30 minutes and just sit and do nothing. Let your mind do what's supposed to do when it's sleeping, but while you're awake. Your mind will make connections for you. There are times when I'll spend 2 hours a day where I'll just let my music play as white noise, so that way I don't hear anything else, and I'll just sit and let my brain process stuff. That helps me write, that helps me be a better Christian, that helps me make these videos better. It helps me tie together the loose strings, because your subconscious does a lot of stuff for you when you're asleep, but your conscious does even more when you're awake and you're not thinking on things. Sometimes just sitting and letting yourself not think of anything is better, because that's more room for your subconscious to do stuff while you're awake instead of just taking information. And then also, over time, start expanding that. If you just do that for like one day a week for a month, maybe the next month 2 days a week, or expand it to an hour. Take time to not consume, to mull over what you have. Think of it like a digestive system. If you are constantly eating, you are losing a lot of information. But if you take at least like an hour to let your food settle and start digesting, that's great. You don't want to be shitting out. There's a lot of stuff that you do just intentionally forget from high school, but you shouldn't have forgotten all of that. If you don't understand what happened in Russia during their communist era, look it up. If you don't understand what happened during Mao China, look that up. If you don't understand what's happening now in China, look that up. Everyone knows Hitler and what happened in Germany, because it also was the big kicker around World War II, which is unfair. But beyond that, if you have time, look things over. But more often you first want to start by meditating, and then once you create that time, you want to split some of it off for learning, and then still you need to keep meditating. And there just comes a lot of peace of mind when you do that. When I go down to Columbus, that all goes out the window, and that's disappointing. I can't record stuff in Columbus. I just can't. My brain doesn't mull over anything. Up here, I am tasked with doing things, but I also have a lot of freedom. If I wanted to, right now, I could go get in my car and drive to Walmart and get whatever I wanted. I can ask where a park is, and I can go over there. I don't really care to. I have a lot of freedom up here. My aunt likes me. That's saying a lot, thankfully. I know I have an abrasive personality, but that's just, it's nice when people like you. My aunt doesn't have a whole lot going on. She likes to talk to me once in a while. That's great. But I have a lot of freedom, and that's good, because back in Columbus, again, I'll say this: my siblings have no empathy, especially my younger brother Jared. I have a lot less freedom down there. And of course, right now I'm putting up with Family Matters down there too. Other Family Matters, other than just my siblings, aren't good people. So it's good that I'm up here. So when I move back down there, if you start seeing my videos coming out slower, understand that I'm probably also not meditating. I will have school come next fall. That will slow things down. But to build on top of all this, you want to start creating time for yourself to let the world sink in. You'll be amazed by what all you can start recognizing when you just let your brain function during the day without if you have a continual thought, you have continual intake, you have continual output. Your brain is exhausted. If you give your brain a little bit to process stuff, it does wonders. I love it. It's helpful for me. While I've been up here, I've done 2 speedrunning routes. I've added 40 pages to one book, another 30 to another book. I'm rewriting sections of the one book I really want to publish. It helps to meditate. Once you let your mind clear for a while, it helps. If you want to, and that helps you also with learning things. It'll help you if you decide you want to try to understand where I'm coming from with Christianity. I'll make a whole video on why I believe there's a God, and why I'll make a whole video on the whole thought process eventually. Thank you for your time. I'll see you around, guys. Peace.